Hello friends and family, and welcome to the 2023 Portland Open presented by Latitude 64. This coverage is brought to you by Ace Run Pro, and this is the FPO Chase Card. My name is Holly Finley.
And I'm Connor O'Reilly, and we are super excited to be bringing you guys this round 2 action out at Glendoveer. Beautiful golf course property with some of the most majestic trees you can imagine, and a lot of open airways for these players to pick their strong suit and attack the course. You got to throw the disc well to score birdies. That's the theme out here.
On this card today, we have a name everyone knows, Paige Pierce, multi-time world champion. Next up, Rebecca Cox on Team Latitude 64, playing very consistent so far.
Third on the card, Kat Mertsch, picking up not only her first Elite Series victory, but also her first Silver Series victory last weekend. And rounding out the card, the legend herself, Juliana Korver. Super excited to watch this well-rounded and just different styles of play on the track here in this card.
All right, here we are, hole 1, 699-foot par 4. It's a downhill shot with this out of bounds on the left. For right-handed players, you can aim to the left side of the fairway and let a nice disc work its way back right. If you can, a flex shot to get a little bit extra distance. If you've landed close enough, you can send your upshot into this green and get yourself a birdie putt. If not, you can just chip out to the left,
we are here at
pitch it up for par.
Golf course for the chase card of the FPO division. Make some noise! Up first on the tee, sponsored by Discraft Discs. Put your hands together for Paige Pierce.
Yeah, important to note that temperature got a little bit warmer today, a little sunnier, but the wind also picked up by a touch. We did see the course, however, play a stroke and a half easier, I think. With the short practice week, players really figuring it out a lot more after one more round.
On the tee, representing Latitude 64, Rebecca Cox.
A little undercommitted for Rebecca and skips out of bounds. Looked to be a grace off the tee there. Just
sponsored by
no
Innova
turn.
Champion Discs, Kat Mertsch.
Kat Mertsch sends a turnover on the left side. It works its way back to the middle of the fairway.
And rounding out your chase card, throwing Innova Discs, the choice of champions. And speaking of champions, 5-time world champion Juliana Korver.
A well-earned intro here for 5-time world champion. Playing a bit low, just making sure to stay safe here on the first. Did play as the most difficult hole on the track, so not one you necessarily have to birdie.
From where Juliana is, she is about 400 feet away from the pin, so she'll just be laying it up short and left and chipping over, playing for par.
Holly, how old is Juliana?
I want to say she is about 50.
Yeah, so impressive just to see. We have someone playing at a high level at 50 years old, and then we see Kat Mertsch, who is maybe 20 years
22.
old, just over that. And disc golf's for everybody, you guys. Give it a try.
And Rebecca Cox has thrown into the hazard on her upshot, unfortunately. Paige Pierce, from her position, was probably about 320 into the pin. She has shorted her shot. She is also in the hazard. Kat Mertsch has probably about 290 into the pin. Sends it to that safe right side. She's inside the circle, putting for birdie.
I have to think Paige was maybe trying to go for that with the line she chose. If she laid up, I feel like she would have played it wider, but...
I agree. I feel like maybe it was just a little low or misjudged on the distance. Because this is a hazard, Rebecca plays from inside of the sand. With a stroke penalty.
That'll be bogey for Cox. Pierce lays up for the same. Cat got some fancy pockets on those pants.
Ooh, I like how her putter matches her outfit. Mertsch for birdie. High left side. Juliana has put a bit more speed on her putt than last year and the start of the season. I'm seeing a lot more commitment and speed out of that. I like it.
Yeah, that was a tester for Juliana. A good one to start the round. It's a pretty scary green, one of the scarier ones on the course. Mertsch's missed putt for birdie would have made her one of only 2 players to score birdie here on hole 1. We saw another hole with only 1 birdie. Ratana Meekum picked up the 3 today. Way to do it, Ratana. From the hardest hole on the course to the 3rd easiest. Hole 2 is going to offer a couple different options. A lot of players will be looking for the backhand through this gap here, but also more often than not we're seeing players take the left side that the drone's not flying. A little more airspace, less trouble with the gap, just a matter of hitting your angle proper down that left side. This one's definitely in the range of everybody on this card, and let's see what approaches we get.
Mertsch up first.
Really trust the disc at that tree line and almost rings up the pole hit.
Juliana taking that inside gap as well. She has enough power to sneak right at the circle's edge, and she has a putt for birdie.
Paige going forehand.
This is not what I expected from Paige Pierce.
Me neither. She's been working on that, I guess.
Wow, that looked great. She'll have about a 38-foot putt for birdie. Rebecca Cox takes the same line as Kat and Juliana, but doesn't quite get a left finish. But she does have a putt.
I gotta think maybe Paige had some trouble throwing that one in practice with the backhand and tried the forehand, realized, you know what, I'll probably at least give myself a long look with forehand and at worst take par. So smart chess game by Pierce.
Wow.
And pays off. Relying on the putter, taking the forehand just to give herself an opportunity, and that basket reined her in. That thing was a little questionable.
A high outside chain. Counted. And Rebecca, that was...
No rebucket.
Threw me for a loop there. Juliana for birdie. Wow. Another long one.
Two
I
strong
feel like this
putts.
is a new putt. It's the same putt. It's just, I I don't know how to describe it. It's got a little more speed.
Yeah, she's attacking more. She's not playing to put it close if she misses. She's playing to make it, and that makes a big difference.
That was well worded. Kat Mertsch gets her birdie putt to drop. Rebecca Cox will settle for par.
You can hear that wind whipping on the mic as we head here into our first commercial break.
Welcome back. Hole 3, 310 feet, a par 3. You do have this Mando. You must play to the right of it. The most common play, I'd say, is low shot under this limb with a flare skip around this stump to give you access inside the circle. If you can't quite hit that line, you can play a wide right side shot and possibly have about a 40-footer at it. Kat Mertsch up first. It's a low shot, very wide, and she does get a significant flare skip. Still a bit short from the basket. I'd say about a 75-foot putt for birdie.
Yeah, you don't often see skips on the wide side here. I feel like you really got to get into those tree trunks to get the skip most of the time on this hole. But Kat getting away with one there. Juliana, a little more of that gentle skip and long look there. I'll see how aggressive she gets. Paige's looks like a stock hyzer on this hole. Wow! Skips it up. Almost rings up a tower hit there. Impressive power out of Pierce. Cox just inside the last of those two trees leading you in to the green.
Mertsch got lucky on that one. Sometimes those towers can provide a very ugly rollaway. Juliana has a long putt for birdie. She decides not to go for that, lays it up at the base of the tower. She'll have a drop-in par.
Yeah, I think important for her to... She has a strong start going. If she can mitigate mistakes, that's going to be great for her. And Rebecca, once again, cashing in on a long putt. That was range that she struggled with earlier in the season and throughout her career, but she's really coming alive.
Paige sneaks one over the nubs for a birdie as well.
Maybe not the most convincing putt. You can see it on Paige's face, but happy to pick up a birdie nonetheless. That makes 2 straight. Juliana chooses to take par. Still playing great golf so far.
Two birdies and 2 pars.
Hole 4 is a par 4 at 505 feet. This one plays the same MPO or FPO and currently is playing as the 12th hardest hole on the course, so definitely a birdie these players are looking to pick up. Throw your first shot somewhere short of the water and get ready to throw your favorite approach disc in. A couple of options stability wise, but you really just got to check up on this narrow sloping green with out of bounds surrounding.
Pierce up first. It is about 500 feet to get to the bucket. Well, it's 485. They've changed the T sign. I think it said 505 at the beginning of the week. So we will probably not see any FPO players going for the green off the tee. Everyone's going to lay up.
Kat getting a little squirrely with that one.
Yeah, I
gets
don't know
away
why
from
she
her.
was throwing it so hard.
I think, like I mentioned yesterday, that little downslope can be tricky, so maybe she was just trying to get past that and hung on to it a bit. Juliana, similar line, but a little less pace.
Yeah, say you need about a 250 to get past that downward slope to the flat area.
Rebecca has to manage it. Goes to that 1-2 step shot that she threw off the tee.
Oh no. And that is an out of bounds golf green.
I feel like that's a very common miss with the downslope. You get thrown with your momentum going down and your body overcorrects and you get the nose up on the disc because you don't want to throw it into the ground the way your body is kind of leading you to with the run up. So
Yeah.
it can be a tricky situation.
But I just realized that you really need to go exactly for the basket distance because, man, what a great layup from JK. Even if you go out of bounds, at the water or the green, once you walk it in, you're almost a drop in for par, even though you went out of bounds.
Yeah, I think the key on this approach is you'd rather overcommit than under, and Kat really fluffs that one out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that was a big misfire. This would be a huge Band-Aid putt.
A Band-Aid putt. I like that. Pierce for birdie. Oh, she knew out of the hand. Air balls, she said. And that wasn't online for Rebecca. A good comeback bogey save for Pierce.
Paige playing that aggressive brand of golf that we know and love her for. 2 birdies, 2 bogeys so far. Juliana playing smart. Carding the only birdie on the card here, and that's rare on an easier hole, but it can happen quick here on the 4th.
All right, let's check out hole 5, 375 feet, a par 3. We do have this Mando tree on the right side. You have to play to the left of it. If you can get a disc just to hit this initial gap past this set of first trees, you're pretty much golden for a par from there. But if you have that extra distance and that shot shaping ability, you can sneak all the way down to the circle and get yourself a putt for birdie. There's no shame in just getting a shot through the gap, hyzering out high left, playing the hole for par. It's a very unique shot shape.
Ooh, the double kick with a little bit of forward momentum through. Yeah, this is one of the most rewarding shapes to hit. Such a beautiful shot if you can get it.
Paige got some world champ love, was headed to miss the Mando, and the tree kicked her back in the right direction.
Rebecca looks a bit overturned and catches those trees that Juliana was able to squeak through. Very common miss here. Kat slows the swing down and pays off with a nice line. Lets the body do the work.
Thank you, madam.
Has a downhill putt to try to make a bounce back birdie. Making sure not to walk over the tee box on the way through. Sign of respect for all the other competitors on the course.
I was just about to say that, Connor. As Paige throws her upshot and gives herself a bullseye putt, there's no reason to add more dirt and wear and tear on the tee box for your fellow competitors.
Yeah, I feel like especially for us MPO guys, a lot of times our tee box is behind, and I always try to make sure to avoid it, especially I'm always dragging my cart. I don't want to walk and drag my cart over the tee. That's disrespectful. Come on, guys.
And no one has a putt yet. Everyone's just laying it up. Let's see what Mertsch thinks about her lie.
She has a good putting style for these type of putts, just has to make sure to choose a lower aim point and still kind of commit to the same release she likes.
Let's go.
She went with the kind of floaty approach, and we see her gallop it in. That's the patented Cat Mertsch birdie gallop.
Rebecca left her upshot a bit short. Oh, and unfortunately she hit that basket a little too high. It didn't want to catch, and that hurts your feelers. You know, that was solid. It sounded in, and then it was on the ground.
It was high right on quite a bit of hyzer. Usually, if anything, you see those kind of cut to the backside instead of bouncing straight back. So, tough miss for Rebecca. Missing. Taking the risk. Hole 6 is going to play as the second hardest hole on the track. Big open shot off the tee, though you do have somewhat of a gap to force you into a particular shape. And then try to position yourself to climb this massive hill. This thing often takes 2 shots to get to the top. And late mandatory to the right, forcing players to really shape a straight back in here unless you can work yourself well up to the left of the fairway.
Mertsch up first after a birdie on the previous hole. She hits the gap, and her disc turns a little bit to the right. Hyzer's back left. It's in a good position. I like when you can get it to turn a little more right. I feel like you've taken off some distance. There's like that little mound area you mentioned yesterday is a good landing zone.
Yeah, Mertsch was right on top of it. Korver finds herself right behind it. See how Paige's shoulder's feeling. Definitely seemed to hold back on that one a little bit. I don't think she committed to that same aggression level we see, and also just missed her wing angle. Rebecca hits a nice shape, but also finds herself kind of behind that mound cat with the furthest drive of the card.
JK's second shot, just looking to bite off as much distance as possible, and obviously to keep it in bounds. Be quite a stretch to reach the out of bounds from there, but not impossible.
Yeah, from where she's at the bottom of the hill, it's going to be a really hard birdie, but I think par is going to be very easily attainable, and she's so far playing some chess out there, so let's see if she continues to take the birdies as they come and make sure par is the worst she can score.
Because Paige's drive hyzered out, now she's got to throw an extreme hyzer around this corner, and she gets a good bit of distance on it. She could birdie from that position.
Cat puts a move on this a little further right than she probably wants, but gets her way partially up the hill. Let's see what shot she chooses coming into the green, forehand or backhand.
And Rebecca Cox's third shot makes it to the top of the hill, and if she wants, she could have a putt from there. This will be Paige's third shot. It hyzers out a bit, but she's on top of the hill as well, which is really a prime position to be.
If you ever have trouble generating momentum throwing up a hill, try shortening your strides, shortening your run up a little bit, maybe even working it a little bit further to the right if you're a right-handed player, or the left if you're a left-handed player, to not have to climb the hill as much, kind of run along the side more.
Pro tip.
You're welcome.
Kat makes it to the top of the hill as well. Juliana pulls her shot a bit right, and that's going to make her next shot just slightly more stressful. It's got that Mando right in front of her. No problem for her, though. If she's up in the circle, she'll have a putt at it.
I feel like there was a period last year where Juliana was playing well, and her 150 in endgame was just so clean. I was convinced that there was no one in the world better at getting up and down from that range. Paige.
Wow.
Oh. Puts
Paige
it up with that fierce.
Throws it in.
She definitely was bidding that one and pays off with the risk. A little smile from Paige on the run-in. This one feels so long, it almost feels like you gotta make a throw-in to get it sometimes, and I feel, like I said yesterday, a lot of players working on that short game out here, understanding they're gonna need it to get some strokes. You can tell today, Rebecca's still working on that new swing. There's some learning curve that goes along with that. Yesterday she looked really confident and convinced. Today it seems like, she's kind of thinking through it a little bit more and still kind of trying to find that rhythm. Hopefully she can get a big putt soon and maybe ignite more of that natural feel and just going for the target instead of trying to think your way through the stroke. Paige Pierce with the only birdie on the card here on hole 6.
Hole 7 is a par 3 blind, 360 feet. If you walk up a little bit in front of the tee, you can see the top of the basket. We have two hazard sound traps to the left of the basket. You could play a straight shot. You can swing a hyzer over to the right side. You could do a spike hyzer if you have that much distance. I like a flat shot right at the basket. Let it swing in left. Get yourself a birdie putt. Paige Pierce up first. She's taking that right side route.
Whoa.
Swinging in nicely, but she put a bit too much distance on it, so now she'll have a very long putt for birdie, maybe 70 feet.
Yeah, she played the safe miss, understanding you'd rather be too flat than too high and too hyzered. Mertsch gonna need to slow down. And yeah, she knows it. She's in that sand trap.
Juliana puts a very nice angle on hers. Flat, matches the landscape.
Ooh, and the bonus roll up to the bullseye whisker. That one could have taken that little small check curl to 25, 28, but she got a little bit of a bonus there.
Rebecca, gosh, I've called her
Rebecca
Rebucket.
the box.
Rebecca.
Rebecca the box.
I'm so sorry, Becca.
A little bit straight.
Yeah, her disc did not finish left. I don't know if she'll want to make that a putt or not. Paige opts for the layup. Sand trap right behind the basket. It's a big risk to go for that putt.
It's kind of a mad person's putt. Maybe final round, it's one that you go for if you feel like you need some momentum and you're in the mix to win or something, or you are desperate for cash maybe, but in this position, just take your par.
Kat Mertsch from the beach. She can save par from here.
Yeah, she's really making sure to dig her feet in, trying to create some kind of compaction so she doesn't get the back foot slide.
Hate to see it.
And that sand, you know, it throws your timing a bit. It makes the swing be a lot more upper body oriented. The leg timing is just going to be a little bit off. And
I don't
oh my God,
understand what happened there. That looked like it was in.
Just the case of a basket with a little bit too much airspace in the chains, I think.
Juliana makes good for her birdie.
Yeah, we've seen a number of unfortunate reactions this weekend, and one there for Kat. Hard to not harbor some anger.
Yeah, you show them.
can
You
see.
tell them. Hole 7's basket. I actually birdied hole 7 both days, so
I
don't
saw
hurt
that.
it too
Were
bad,
you parked
Kat.
again?
No, today I had to make a 25-footer.
Even better. Hole 8. Big bomb down the bunny hill. This thing is a lot of fun to throw. Really just let it rip. Ton of airspace here. Just a matter of not fading off way too early to where that mandatory comes into play. If you can get a little bit of turn to the right and straighten out, you'll leave yourself the most open approach possible. But however you want to draw this one up, it plays as the second easiest hole on the course. So if you want to move up the leaderboard, you want to birdie this thing.
And Connor said it, if you can get your drive to end up more right, that will give you an open shot into the green instead of having to go under and between those two trees. And Juliana sends hers over to the right side. I'm really liking the position and the distance off the tee.
Yeah, it's a great spot to be. The card looking to match that. Paige, though, definitely playing a little bit more direct, but getting some late drift on the disc. And ends up kind of on that same line as Juliana.
60 feet past JK. Paige took a break, but her distance didn't. Rebecca Cox up third. She has a nice low line. About the same distance as Juliana. A bit more left on the finish.
Yeah, she's been playing this one conservative, just making sure to get it down the hill, not flirting with sky on the big flex and then throwing a flat ground shot down the hill that fades out.
Kat put hers on an Annie angle and it finished far right, but she still has that nice open hyzer into the green.
Katz needs to check up. Yeah, lengthy putt for her birdie.
Thanks to that thick grass, she has no skip and she'll be circle's edge for birdie putt. Juliana made it just the perfect position where she didn't have to contend with those trees. Swings a hyzer around and she's in the bullseye again.
That's going to be 2 straight birdies for Juliana, putting her at 4 down through the front 8.
And you can see Rebecca has ended up in the position where she has to play between those trees.
Rebecca was going to bring us some magic as well there. Paige going fierce once again. That's her go-to approach disc.
Mertsch for birdie. Well done.
Strong putt there for Kat. And finds herself back at even. Been an up and down round so far, but still under par for the tournament. Time to climb. A little scary on the high side there, but Juliana makes good. Throws her way to a birdie.
Paige capturing a birdie as well here on the 8th. And Becca to make it a star frame. Birdies for everyone.
Those are the best kind of frames, you guys. Actually, eagle frames. Find it for me.
Hole 9, a 300-foot par 3 with a double mando. Get your disc to fly through this dub straight ahead. If you have a disc that can fly perfectly straight for 300 feet, that's the one you need. I've seen a lot of players pull their shot slightly left and slightly right and still get a circle putt for birdie.
We saw 13% birdies here, and the hole played exactly even par, so let's see if we can get one or two of those here on our chase card.
JK up first after a previous 2 birdies. Sneaks it through the gap and misses that tree on the left. Wow, barely outside the bullseye. JK with a 15-foot putt for birdie.
Paige early on the timing there, but creeps up to possibly a makeable jump putt.
Rebecca hits the gap nicely. The disc is pulling a bit right. It finishes a little early, and she'll have a long putt for birdie.
Cat going to that Thundy looks like, and just a bit soft and early for her, but still makeable putt.
We saw her throw it in earlier. 15-footer for par.
Little overturned, but closer putt than she might feel.
Becca from 60.
That was probably one of the better looking trajectories we saw from her, putting wise on the front 9, so hopefully the back 9 she can get that going.
Mertsch unable to connect for her birdie putt. And that leaves JK for a turkey. She does it. Wow, what an incredible front 9 for Juliana Korver.
Schooling the young guns.
She made a statement earlier in an interview this year that said this is possibly her last year on tour as a player.
Well, still showing that. Maybe she's just...
Oh, Rebecca. Unfortunate misfire on her shorty.
I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. That was a bit shocking. Rebecca's got to focus up, and she's kind of going back to that nose down, not as much of the hyzer angle,
I think
nose flat putt
in
we
moments
saw.
of fear, the old habits take over, possibly.
Yeah, without a doubt, and hopefully she can hit a big one soon, and like we said, let her settle into her round.
Let's take a look at this top 10 leaderboard. After the front 9 of day 2, Kristen Tatar in the lead. Juliana has jumped up to second. Sai Ananda in third, and Paige Pierce in fourth. We've had a lot of fun hanging out at this Glendoveer golf and tennis property this week. What an incredible course. Tomorrow, though, we're playing the east side. We appreciate you guys tuning into this day 2 coverage with Connor and myself. If you'd like to check out our YouTube or pick up some of our tour series fairway discs, links are in the description.
Promise you guys you will score aces with them if you throw them enough.
Mine glows.
Mine doesn't, but it can in your mind.
Yeah.